Hello, Mike.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going, man? I had to switch the session parameters and audio hijack right quick, so I was recording from the correct device.
And what device would that be? Because I am not recording from the correct device because I forgot until I heard you come in.
Oh no, I don't think we actually discussed you coming in on your setup anyway.
Yeah.
But if you want to, if you can do that right quick, that would be cool. But you don't have to.
I don't think they're charged.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did I charge them?
Well, and you don't know, like they are probably charged, maybe, but I don't know about the case. And that's the problem. Like I put it back in the case, so they may be dead or they may be charged.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But
who knows?
so what I'm on is the little sister. I'm gonna try to be more something. Less sexist. How about that? That might be a way to put that. I have the little sister to what Michael has. Michael has the DJI, it's the Mic 2?
Yeah. Wireless DJI Mic 2 wireless to go. It's got 2 and go and wireless in it. So.
All right. So that's what Mike has. I have the DJI Mic Mini. Which, as mentioned, is a smaller version. Probably, maybe smaller. I'm not sure physically if it's smaller. Its case is probably a little bit smaller, I would imagine.
Probably.
The main takeaways from this particular set of mics, from what Mike has, it's a lot of mics in the mic, is Michael's device has onboard recording. And Mike, if I'm remembering right, those also... like they record on the transmitters and then as a backup or something?
They record on the transmitters. The receiver can record as well. And then whatever you have the receiver connected to can record. Now, you finish describing and then I might have some questions for you because I've avoided asking questions.
Okay. So these do not have that recording feature. So you're only going to be able to record on what you connect the receiver to. The receiver does ship with a USB-C. I'm sorry because I'm probably making noise because I'm trying to pull the case back out of this little carry case. So I can give you a rough approximation of how big it is. So the kit that I bought has the charging case, it has the receiver, and it has 2 transmitters. These transmitters, it also came with a few little, small accessories like a USB-C cable to charge, a 1/8 inch to 1/8 inch, if you were hooking these up to a camera that had like the audio input, jack, and some windscreens, for each transmitter. It also came with, so the transmitters have a clip on the back, but there's also a magnet. So I just used the magnet, because the clip seems like one, it's a little difficult to actually open it and then clip it somewhere. And plus magnets are just cool. So
and the magnet's pretty darn strong.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. You got to slide it off the device. You can't just pull it away.
Yeah. Yep. You got to slide it off.
Yep.
I have mine clipped onto the left side of my collar of a, polo style shirt, right now. I feel like it picks up a ton of room audio from the quick, test recording I did, or test playback, test your mic inside a Zoom thing I did.
It does. It does.
However, one downside to this, is I can't monitor myself. I mean, I could if I really wanted to go through the trouble of setting up a audio hijack session or loopback deal, but there would be lag, and I'm not as talented as Mike when it comes to dealing with lag.
So that was one of my questions. Does your receiver not have 1/8 inch jacks on one end of it?
It has an 1/8 inch jack, but my presumption is that it's only for outputting your audio to a camera. But hold on, I'm going to take my headphones out and then I'm going to plug it into that and see if it breaks anything.
Okay, you may not hear me, so.
Hold on.
The default speaker has changed to MacBook Air speakers and will now be used.
Yeah, Zoom. Who cares? Okay, so now I have plugged them in.
Do you hear
That's
yourself?
weird because I do now hear myself. Let's see if I can make that the default input device.
Output.
Efforts system dialog.
Yeah.
Input group. Sound effects group. Input group. Output group. In. Up 37.5. Disable. Up MacBook Air speakers. Output. Menu check mark. Output groups. Create an output group. Output group. Check mark. MacBook. Loop back audio. Loop back audio. Check output groups. Dim.
Nope. Does not give me an option to set that as the output.
That's interesting.
Audio hijack. Input device.
All right.
Hold on 1 sec. I want to unplug this. Plug those back into the Mac.
And then listen to Zoom, tell System Audio to tell you 1 to 3 times that your default speaker has now changed.
Yep, so it just told me that I changed back to the external device.
Headphones or
It
whatever.
will now be used. That is a nice thing about hey, I give macOS some trouble. I want to take a quick side note to point out a nice thing that macOS has done. I think they did it in the last OS, so previous to 26, where when you disconnected the device, it would go back, I feel like, to the previously used input or output device. As opposed to you better go switch your output before you disconnect anything that's output, because otherwise it's going to end up routed to some weird virtual device with no output. So that has been more reliable. So you cannot monitor yourself reliably. I mean, I can monitor myself, but then I can't hear you through that, right? So if I'm doing a single individual, like if I'm doing just a recording of me, say on the phone, and I want to plug in, that probably would work. But for the purposes of podcasting, like, I just can't monitor myself, which is extraordinarily weird.
Right.
I feel probably as awkward as you would when you first start recording and monitoring yourself, and like it seems weird to hear yourself in your headphones. Like now it feels that weird not to hear me talking. Also, just to be fair to people, if you get one of these and you plug in headphones to monitor yourself, well, right now I have it set for stereo because there's 2 transmitters, and I think out of the box it's set to stereo. So on one, I'm only coming out of the left headphone, which isn't a problem because by default that's what the Pre 2 does, is you're routed to one ear for monitoring yourself, which is fine. I've gotten used to that. But I don't know how to explain this to anybody other than Mike, unless you have also done similar things. If you've ever monitored yourself in Reaper directly, or you have routed audio in some way on the Mac, at least with audio hijacker loop back to an output device so you can hear yourself on your microphone, it sounds like that. Like it wasn't really a delay, but it's got that kind of tinniness to it.
Okay. I get what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. Like when you're monitoring in Reaper.
Yes, Reaper is the best example because there's not delay that's creating a problem. It's just like, but your voice just sounds a little weird, like it's a little modulated or something. But they're small. I would say if you are a cargo pants type of person, I typically ain't really cargo pants for me, but if you're a cargo pants type of person, you could throw this little charging case in your pocket. Easily fits in a backpack for sure, or a small bag. Completely wireless. The case recharges. One nice thing about these is when you get them, you take them out of the case, they automatically link or pair to each other, so you don't have to do a little pairing dance. I mentioned this in a previous episode, but this is sold without the charging case. I think you can buy as minimum as 1 transmitter in the receiver as a pair, up to, 2 transmitters in a receiver and a little carrying case. And I think you can buy like the transmitters separately. So like if you ended up with one or you lost one, you could buy another one or something like that. But the charging case makes it nice because you pull it out. 1, you got more battery life to use if you're using these very heavily. And 2, you got the advantage of not having to try and pair them together before you can use them. Just take them out of the case and boom, they're connected. If you push a button and you're not sure if you turned it off or you think you turned it off, just drop it back in the case, take it back out, boom, you're good to go.
So the windscreens on them, are they like you're attaching something to the top of it and you have to put a little pole into the hole?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. So those are pretty much the same there. And that means that you could, if you wanted to, use an external lapel microphone as well.
Oh, okay. So you're saying like I would be able to connect a wired.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you wanted to keep the transmitter, like for one of the videos that I did, I think, it was the Walmart Ira video.
It was the Walmart Ira.
Yep. I had a wired lapel microphone wrapped around my ear and sitting in the ear canal, pointing at the speaker of the glasses. And then the other one was clipped to my shirt. So really the microphones did not show up in the video. I'm sure the one around my ear probably showed up a little bit, but versus having that box on your collar and that obviously showing up in the video. And you can get flesh colored microphones. I almost couldn't say that phrase. So it looks like it's blends in with your shirt or your skin. And so that's an option if you're on video. And really that's what these are for, is for video content, I think.
Absolutely. I would say, in a pinch as a mobile solution, to record just audio, they're okay. Well, I say okay when I'm measuring that against some of the audio I hear on much bigger shows, with much more of a budget and advertisers and all of that. And not even routines, in some cases, co-hosts, to me sound like they're on their laptop microphone. I know that they're not, because it would probably sound worse than what it is, but instantly that's what my ears translate to, is laptop microphone, even though that's not what they're using, right? Because it doesn't sound as good as being right on your Beta 87A, for example, or even a ATR 2100X or something like that. So it just sounds, and I think for them it's more of a distance thing, because they are trying to not have the microphone maybe cover up their face. I'm not sure. But it ain't the best sounding audio to me for an audio podcast.
Right. You definitely can tell you're on something different. Now, I talked to a newer listener to the show. Shout out to him. He knows who he is.
Shout out, new listener. Hey.
Went and listened to some of our back episodes and actually purchased some stuff based on recommendations of ours. And I was working with him on Tuesday to get his P4 Next set up. We can talk about that in a moment if you want. But he, what was I saying about shouting him out prior to that? That's
you were talking to a new listener. I'm guessing you were going somewhere with the audio quality or something. I don't know.
Oh, Alphonic. Yeah. So we were talking to him about Alphonic, and he used Alphonic on an episode that I was on of his, where he recorded from the iPad, and he was astounded with how much Alphonic can clean up audio. So we'll use Alphonic on this episode like we normally do, and it will probably give Damashe will, I guarantee, sound different than what he normally does. You may not hear as much room noise as what I hear, and I don't hear a lot of room noise, but right now, in my ears, Damashe sounds like he's on video. I associate the tone of his voice and the way the microphones sound like you're on video. You're someone a news reporter clipped a microphone to and they're talking to you or something. You know, that's where I associate the voice quality.
Yeah, I can get that too. Because again, it's not as bad as laptop microphone, but it's definitely different. But yeah, you do generally hear that with people who are on video, who are not, in most cases, routinely on video. I feel like when you're routinely on video, like, I don't know, spend a little money and get a decent shotgun if you don't want the mic in the camera or something. I don't know. But yeah, sounds like a video. And again, as Mike said, these are primarily meant for video. One of the bigger selling points of this particular device itself, and much like I don't know, I'm guessing yours probably has some of the same features, being that this one is mini. It probably is just, has some more professional features cut out. So These are one of the big selling points. Like I said, you come with a cable that you just hook into, say, a webcam or you know, a vlogger style camera that you would want to use. These are supposed to work very well with some of the DJI cameras, so like the Osmo Pocket style action cams. And that's their biggest selling point. A major downside, it does come with just a USB-C adapter. You can buy a lightning adapter if you still are over there dealing with that.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a strange thing to cheap out on. So for me, the ones that I have, when you have the case in front of you, does your case have like embossed letters on the top of it?
Yep, it says DJI, a little D at that, and a little J and a little I.
And then on the front, there's a little button that you push to flip open the top.
Push down, yep, so you can flip the top open.
So when I flip my top open, the receiver is closest to me, and you have the transmitter on the left and right.
Yep.
Behind the receiver is 3 slots that you can slot adapters in. And there's a lightning on the left, there's a blank one in the middle, and on the right, there's a USB-C. And that blank one is what goes on the bottom of the receiver when you put the receiver back in its case.
Okay, so that's roughly what I see, except on the left for where mine is, so it's be toward the back edge of the case, is where the USB-C adapter was. Mm-hmm. That middle part is blank, and then that right side, that will be complete, you know, the opposite of where the USB-C is on the left, basically is nothing like, well, actually, hold on, it feels like they just stuck a rubber stopper in there.
Okay.
So I can take that stopper. I just realized that was actually a stopper. So yeah, there's actually a second hole there, but they have it plugged up because they did not give me a free lightning adapter.
Which is fine because, I mean, for the most part, you're not going to be on lightning.
Yeah, I'm not, so I don't mind it. What I have noticed, or what I have done, is when using this, if you leave the USB-C adapter, so mine slides off, like it kind of slides down on a little slot, and there's a little cover that goes over that slot if you don't have an adapter connected to the receiver. So kind of how yours is?
There's a what?
So when you have you're looking at the receiver, mm-hmm. And I can't touch it because I got it plugged into a dock, so like it's kind of far away from me. But on the bottom edge, right, there's a little cover there that you can slide out, and then you have a little slidey spot where you slide your adapter down into it, and it kind of clicks in place.
With the 2 or 3 pins on the bottom of the receiver that the adapter makes contact with. Yep.
So what I've noticed, if I leave the USB-C on and just drop the receiver back in, like that blank slot that you're talking about in the middle, that allows that adapter to stay connected, so I don't have to reconnect it every time.
Okay. But is your receiver charging?
Yes.
Okay. Because I thought the receiver, well, wouldn't it? That would make sense. I was going to say I thought the receiver had to touch those pins, but if you put that plastic piece on top.
Yeah, because there's a groove all the way through, like, you know, like kind of in the middle. So if you're looking down where the receiver goes, there's like some pins on the right side that they have to come in contact with. I don't feel any on the left, but there's like if you start at the back where that blank spot is, you mentioned, go straight down the back of the case and then start coming forward. There's like a whole groove right there where all that kind of sits down at. So it does let it drop down low enough to make contact with the pin so it charges. So you don't have to take your adapter on and off every time.
Yeah, I like it. Oh, man. I've been vibe coding more than I have in the last couple of weeks, and I'm just saying, this stuff is so damn cool when it works.
Man, it has been... I have been having fun. Like, I've been having fun doing the... planning mode.
Yes. Oh, that is tons better. Now that you told me about planning mode, I've been planning mode everywhere. Planning mode in Claude, planning mode in VS Code. Everything's planning mode.
Gotta plan it out, man, before it starts, right?
Yeah, you do. And it asks you the questions that you're like, I didn't think about that. Thanks for bringing that up. Because my workflow right now, if I need to do some coding, is I will start with either Claude or ChatGPT in the web. I do still have a ChatGPT account. I am not going to renew my membership with ChatGPT. Claude does a good enough job right now that it's pretty comfortable with me. But I will start with one of those LLMs, and I think you start with Gemini, and I tell it, here's what I want to do. Can you generate me a planning mode prompt for me to be able to drop this into Claude so we can plan out and make sure that I get all of the features that I'm looking for? It'll generate something. I'll read it. And I'll read it over again, sometimes twice. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I'll go drop it into Claude, into planning mode, either in VS Code or in the Claude terminal app. Earlier today, I was working on 2 different projects at once. So I had one going in VS Code and one going in terminal. And I then will plan a project out or a feature out, primarily is what it is. And then it'll ask me questions based on that. After I answer those questions, it'll say, I'm ready to implement this. You hit the implement button, and I am getting probably 85% of the time what I'm looking for. And listeners might think, that's not very good. But I remember days where it was like 30% of the time it would do what I wanted to do. And the rest of the time it's like, what did you do to all of this?
Like 10% of the time, it's like you got 10% of what I asked for, and 90% I don't even understand how we ended up there. Is where we're coming from. And considering that you're starting, basically, I wouldn't say a single one-line prompt, because you are going through in planning mode, you're going through, the question and answer phase and all of that. But you're probably taking maybe 10 or 15 minutes at most.
Yeah.
To have that back and forth, and then it starts and it goes off and does a thing for about 10 or 20 minutes, depending on what what it's working on, 30 minutes, however long it takes. And then you get 85 to 90% of what you actually wanted. And what I found in a lot of cases is that missing 10 or 15%, or that 10 or 15% that's off or not quite all the way there. Oftentimes I can track that back to, I didn't realize I wanted this, or didn't want it that way, or I wasn't specific enough in this particular instance because I hadn't thought about it until I saw the thing. And it was like, well, hold on, we need to add this, or I want that, or no, I didn't mean for you to do that this way. I prefer it to be that way, like that sort of deal. So it's very much like, me and you having worked on projects for other people. They give you a thing, you go off and build it, and then people are much better able to give you, like, I like this, I don't like that, once there's something for them to
look at, play with.
Yeah.
Yep.
Physically, for lack of, I guess in some cases physically, but physically feel the thing. Like, okay, hold on. Could you change the menu? Right. And there may be things that I didn't think about, like, I want the menu to be this, iOS style pop-up menu thing. I didn't say that and didn't think about it until I looked at the menu. It's like, no, it looks like everybody else's menu. And plus it doesn't really have an actual real hover state with voiceover. So I want to be able to click it and make it drop down. So let's fix that. I'm just saying, it's really weird not being able to hear myself.
We'll tell you what, we'll keep it shortish. How about that? Every time we say that,
Yeah, then, a thing happens.
So, Speaking of Claude, just saying. Have I complained to you about how long it takes Builder to start?
No.
Okay, so one of my biggest challenges was I could get the development version of Builder to start in about 3 seconds, 2 or 3 seconds. But when I go and launch the built version of Builder, and I want it to run, and often I just want to look something up real quick. Like, that is what I want to do. It takes, 30 seconds or so. And 30 seconds is a long time. Like, when you just want to go get something done, 30 seconds is a long time.
It's going to take you 30 seconds to look at the thing you want to look at. So having to wait to look at it for 30 seconds is excruciating.
I was working in plan mode, and it even has, okay. So I was working in plan mode, and the executable file that I was running was 218 megabytes. And I'm like, man, what can we do to reduce this? But I really want to focus on getting the time, the start time a lot faster. And after planning, Claude's like, well, when you build the application, you have all of the dependencies in one file, even if it doesn't necessarily need that dependency for the actions that you're taking when you're loading Builder. So it has to load everything before it can actually give you the UI so you can interact with it. So we took the .exe file down to 10 megabytes now, and it loads files based on an underlying internal folder that has all the modules in that folder. And that folder is also only 191 megabytes. So we went down to a total of 201 megabytes. But that folder contains all of the libraries for the application, and now I can load Builder in like 2 seconds. And just that change that I made last night, I'm like, I'm just going to go open it just because I can. It doesn't take so long anymore.
So it's kind of like optimizing a website where you don't have every single script from every plugin or module that you have there loading on every single page, even the page that is not needed. It's like, why am I loading, Gravity Forms is JavaScript on the About page when there's no form on that page, right? There's no reason to load that. So therefore you cut that out, makes your page time load faster.
I'm about to cut your microphones out is what I'm about to do.
Huh?
I don't know what you're playing with, but I just heard a loud click and you're...
Oh, I was playing with the cake. Dude, I do that all the time where you don't realize I'm doing it.
Well, I was wondering if you were actually on the lapel mics or if you like switched to a different mic and you didn't realize it or something. But yeah.
No, I'm still on the lapel mic. I'm like, because that case is sitting there, I'm opening it and then looking and then I close it. Like I said, I do this all the time, periodically when we're recording, but you don't hear it because, much better microphone. Yeah. Folks, this is why you go out and buy a Beta 87A or 2100X or a Q2U. But speaking of audio, I want to make sure I get this in the show because otherwise I will forget it if I wait. So, spurred by a listener's comment, I think it was. I don't think it was. Oh, no, it was a question, right? It wasn't a question like, what? Yeah, they want to know what audio interface and microphone I was using. I think it was the question.
Yep.
So I'm going to answer that question in two ways. My first answer is whatever I was using at the time this person asked that question, which I know what I was using, I'll tell you. You should probably not go buy that. You should absolutely not go buy it. I'm not going to say you probably should. You should not go buy at least one part of that equation at this point, period. Unless you're making significant money podcasting.
Yes. Do you want to know what the listener ended up buying?
It was the P4
and the 87A.
And the 87A.
See, that's a decent setup.
That is a decent setup.
And reasonably affordable, comparatively speaking. He did also buy the Rode boom arm, and I don't know if I should have warned him to tell him that there's the word Rode on it, but he'll figure it out on his own.
He'll figure it out now because he hopefully is still listening to the show, so he will hear it. But yes, Rode is written very prominently on the end of that boom arm. So if you have it in view of a camera, you're going to be advertising for Rode.
But it's such a nice boom arm.
My advice would be, don't try to scratch it off.
No.
When I first got it, I did not try to scratch mine off. I started researching what people had done. This is pre-LLM days, by the way. So I was just searching the internet, watching random YouTube videos to see what people were saying.
Ask your parents, kids.
But for a while, what I did do, and if I were going to be on video very routinely, I would do this again. I just took like some black gaffer's tape or something like that and just covered it over. Because again, I don't have a problem with the product. What I do have a problem with is just rampant free promotion of somebody's stuff all the time. Like if I'm on a show, let's take Double Tap, for example, which those guys don't want me on video for some reason, but I'm not complaining, just, calling it how I see it is all I'm saying. But if I were on Double Tap video, for example, we're not talking about the equipment that I'm using. We're not having that sort of conversation. Why am I free advertising for Rode at this point? Because Rode's not paying me and they're not paying them either, right? But you're getting free advertisement when we're not having. Now we're having a conversation like me and Michael are having right now about the equipment that we use. I'm just telling you what I use. If you go out and buy it, cool. If I had an affiliate link, I would drop it somewhere for you to use it. But I don't. So, but that's an entirely different thing from every single time my face is on camera. People see Rode. Cause Rode ain't paying for that placement is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Now, if they were paying for that placement or giving me free stuff, I mean, I would have to disclose to you that I got this boom arm free at some point, but that's not what happened. I paid for it.
No.
I did catch it on sale, but I paid for it.
The whole money. You paid all the money. Well, you got yours on sale.
Yeah, I got it on sale.
Yeah, they're $129
when I got it. It was $99 when I got it. So
breaking news
on sale. Breaking news.
Did you see that there is going to be a movie for Project Hail Mary?
I heard this.
Yeah, and Prime members get early access if you want it.
I should definitely. No, I should actually watch the movie first.
You haven't read the book?
Audio
I thought you were the one who told me to read the book.
I probably did, but I didn't read it yet. So you have read the book?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have. Ah, damn it! Hold on.
That sounds like you broke something.
No.
Oh, I know what happened. So Mike had his case in his hand and he dropped it and it was partially open because he had just opened it up and all the little pieces just flew out.
What case?
The DJI case.
Nope.
Nope. AirPods.
Yep.
Yeah. AirPods case is the fidget toy of, I think, most people who have them that do podcasting or do any sort of meetings. You're sitting there with your AirPod case and you flick it open, you flip it closed. I don't know why it's like that, why we do this.
The problem I had is, number one, I wasn't fidgeting with it. It was just sitting there. And I moved my phone over and it knocked over.
Oh.
And it fell off the table.
Oh, well, that also will make them pop open and fly out.
My immediate concern was, oh no, what's my Mac audio going to do?
This is not a concern that you should have.
It is not, but it is a valid concern.
Yeah. No, I mean, legitimately, like, you should not have to think about this, but the fact that you have to think about this is a thing. I'm going to give people a tip before I get back to the audio stuff. This is sort of tangentially audio related. On any device that you have Apple earbuds, whether it's AirPods, Beats, or whatever paired to, that will do the auto switching thing, you can go into Bluetooth settings, go to that device, and pick never pair, always pair, or only when last connected as an auto connecting option. Everywhere except my phone, I will turn off, like never automatically connect to this device. Yes, it makes me have to add an extra step or go to Bluetooth and click on to connect, but I prefer that over
turning Bluetooth off.
I'm listening to audio on my phone and I'm typing and I open my laptop. And while the audio is supposed to be playing in my earbuds on my phone, it switches the audio to the computer. It's like, wait a minute, but I was listening to a thing.
Try listening to a podcast while editing a podcast in Reaper. You never know where your audio is going to be.
So, yeah, that is my tip for people. Go to Bluetooth, highlight the device. Now, on the Mac, I think it may either be a details button that is there, or you have to do like the VO. I never remember that shortcut. Okay, it was, okay. VO command space on the name of the device on the Mac to get the little pop-up menu. And then you go to details, and then you can, or info. Let me see what it actually says. Because I don't like telling people not quite the right thing. Okay. Oh, it says show menu.
Or is that the wrong menu?
No, that's the right menu. Oh, no, there's a show detail button.
Okay, so you...
Actually, that's there.
Press the right arrow to the show details?
Yep. And if you jump all the way to the end... and your options on the Mac, at least, are connect to this Mac automatically or connect to this Mac when last connected to this Mac. And actually, I think I'm looking at an old pair of AirPods. So, None of that makes sense. Oh crap! I just hit connect instead of done. It ain't gonna work because those are old pair of AirPods. There's my actual AirPods that work. But yeah, go there, select the never connected to this device or only when last connected would be the options I would suggest. Just based off what your use case is. For me, it's never auto connect unless it's my phone. Because that's primarily why I use them. I rarely use AirPods with my computer unless I'm moving around with it in laptop mode. Or riding in the van with it, which is still laptop mode, and I don't feel like digging in the bag to pull out some wired earbuds, then I'll use them then. As for audio equipment, so two things. I'm going to tell people what I'm using. Again, I feel like we've had this conversation, so if our new listener or the person who asked that question goes far enough back and starts, you will hear what I'm actually using normally to record the show. But I figured it is a good time for us to make some different content, not different content, but do something interesting. So what I'm going to do, starting with this episode, as you can hear, I am going to use a different microphone until I run out of microphones. Well, actually, no, I'll take that back. I'm going to use a different audio interface until I run out of audio interfaces. Of which, my really good friend Mike, who I try to protect from, such things of like, Mike, you really shouldn't buy that, or Mike, that's unnecessary. I can't believe you did this. Tells me, oh, you have way too many audio interfaces, dude. I can't believe you told me this.
And now I'm telling you, you're playing with your case again.
I did, and I'll just put it back down.
See, this is how conversations really go with us.
I realized it and I put it back down. So I will give people a preview at what I will be using. And it's mostly, it's for two reasons. It's one, for people to be able to hear if there's a major difference. I'm going to use the same microphone. I'm going to use a reasonable microphone for this. So I will be using the Beta 87A for these audio interface tests. I will tell everybody during the episode which interface I'm using. And that will give anybody that has questions about that specific interface a chance to send an email to feedback@technicallyworking.show and ask or give feedback. If you just have feedback, like, hey, when you were using this thing, it sounded a little crunchy and crackly or something. Or does it always hiss? Or is yours just broken?
Right.
So quick rundown of what I'm going to use. I'm going to use what Mike is using right now, I think, which is a Vocaster. I'll be using the Vocaster One. Admittedly, that one may sound a little hinky. I'm not sure because I hadn't used it in a while, but it's the one that Mike sent me when I sent him mine because he needed the inputs that I had more than I did. And, cause he was going off to do a thing, somewhere. I can't even remember what it was now.
It was a convention.
And then Mike was like, oh, well, I'll send you the, slightly sometimes fidgety one that I had. Just randomly in a box. Actually, didn't even tell me it was sent. I just opened a box and like, oh, it's a Vocaster. So I will be using that. And I'll take a, moment during each episode to kind of talk about, like, here are the things I like about this. Here's the features of it. Like, we won't spend an enormous amount of time on them, but just to give people an overview of what that device does when I get to it. Next, I will use, not necessarily in particular order, but I will use the Zoom H5 Studio at some point, and I will give more information and description of that device again when I use it. I'm trying to think if I have anything else. I would say I will go get the mixer, the Soundtrack 12 MTK, and also use that. But one is heavy, and I got to clean my desk off too. The audio over USB from that comes in super duper low. So yep. There will be a point where me and Michael have a discussion about mixers and stuff again, and I will point out at that time, like, what I think that device could be used for. Since Mike has switched to a different mixer, I want to have this conversation at some point, which we could have it today if you want to. But where could you see the MTK of any variant, the 12 or the 22, being used just as a standalone mixer, but then routing stuff back into the computer using an entirely different USB interface. Because the USB interface part of it sucks. The mixing capabilities and routing capabilities of the Soundcraft are amazing. It's also stupidly heavy.
It is.
So it's not
takes
a
up a
travel
lot of
thing.
room.
And it does take up a ton of room. Hence the reason I said I got to clean my desk off. So that will not feature itself here. I think that is going to be all that I'm going to use. Then I'll go back to my, normal setup, and then I'll tell people what that device is, sitting over there behind my computer.
Oh, you're not telling them this episode?
Nope, not telling them this episode.
Okay. Are you going to tell them what mic you were using?
Sure. I'll tell you what mic I'm using. It's a pretty good mic. If you catch it on sale, you should buy it. You probably don't want to buy it at its regular price. You probably want to buy it on sale. I bought it on sale. But the mic that I have been using, I would say pretty much with the exception of when I was at Gentry. So if you're listening to episodes, or if you were with us during those episodes, or if you're going back through or have gone back through our back catalog, in any of the episodes that I recorded while at Gentry in Talladega, I was using the Beta 87A. Well, actually, I was using a random combination of stuff at that point. But for all other shows, and definitely for the past year and a half, for sure, I have always been using the Earthworks Ethos, which is a condenser microphone. It is, I'm trying to think of the right term,
hypercardioid. Yeah.
Whatever type of condenser the Beta 87A is also the same type. So this is a very sensitive, like it gets your voice very naturally like the Beta 87A, but it's also very focused like the Beta 87A compared to most condensers that just pick up everything, like people picking up their cases and opening them and closing them. You never hear me doing that on the regular show because that mic is extremely focused, just like the Beta 87A. I think for my voice, I sound a little bit better on that microphone, not a terrible amount better. Like if you have a Beta 87A, I wouldn't say go out and buy this. I bought it for a specific reason, and it's partially because for my ear sensitivity and what I like for myself to sound like when I do listen to my shows, I wanted my Beta 87A to be a travel microphone, because at the time, and it's still potentially a thing that is going, well, I'm not going to say potentially, it's still a thing that is going to happen, that I will not be at home and have to record my show. Like I won't be sitting where I'm sitting at now at my nice, half L desk, or lowercase L desk, because I took the leg off. So now it's just a lowercase L. It's not a capital L. I still wanted a similar sounding microphone. And while the 2100X is an amazing mic, it sounds really good. Frankly, I can only say that about other people having used that mic, because I have one, but it's still in the box. The mic that I used, they don't sell it anymore, which is the AT2005. That mic sounds really good, but it's also really old. Not that mics, the age of a mic really matters all that much, but I can notice a difference, and I feel like the Beta 87A allows me a little bit more distance from the microphone, so I don't feel like I'm breathing into it all the time, without picking up a ton of room noise. Whereas I feel like a lot of dynamic mics, not all, but especially down in that area of dynamic mics, if you're very close up on them, you sound great. You back off a little bit, you start getting more room echo. Like what I would hear if I was monitoring myself right now, because I could hear my voice through my semi-open headphones bouncing off the wall, and it's driving me mad. So Beta 87A is what I recommend for most people. It is consistently $250 or less. You can usually find it around $200 to $215 on places like Amazon, Sweetwater, or Z-Sounds. That is to me, the best overall podcasting mic. If you're going to get a podcasting mic, you want to put a little bit of money into it, or you have a little bit of money to put into it, and you're also going to get an audio interface. I feel like that is the best setup. I'm going to leave my option for the best audio interface, and I still feel like we're going to end up picking two. Me and Mike will pick once I go through the ridiculous amount of audio interfaces I have over here. We'll pick one, or we'll pick two maybe, for what people should buy. And the reason I say two is because there's a very simple setup that I'm like, hey, if you can get this and at what it costs nowadays, the Vocaster One, that may be all you need. You're going to sound great. You got a mute button, which is important. That's another thing I don't have right now is a mute button. And I like mute buttons. But for a lot of people, that is a good setup. I think if you're a mic, you're probably going to want to look at something a little more complex. That's probably not the right way to put that, but a little more fully featured than what the Vocaster One is for your interface, because you're going to find yourself in situations where you got to do some weird routing. And if you got inputs and outputs, the more inputs you got in a Mac, the more weird routing you can accomplish. So we'll pick that at the end of the show, and we'll see if the listeners agree. Like, chime in every week when we do these. This is the first in that series, which is me on the DJI Mic Mini, which I think is a great video camera microphone. One downside to it, you plug it into the bottom of your phone and it kind of sticks up. So if you do get these, be careful, because you could probably break something off. And admittedly, even though they don't sound terrible, they feel, at least these, I don't know about mics, DJI mic, wireless mic to go twos or whatever they are. But these feel very plasticky cheap. I'm not saying that they're cheap or that they'll easily break, but they feel that way.
Yeah, the ones I have feel, they do feel plasticky. Like, I know what you're talking about.
It could just be the quality of the plastic, right? But yeah, and I'll just, I'm probably snobbish. It's okay. But I don't really like stuff that feels that way. So these more likely going to end up back in their box and going back to Amazon. I'm just putting that out there right now. See if I still got them in a month. Not that they're bad, and I think if you're going to do a lot of video stuff, or if you are into the TikTok, YouTube short, YouTube video content creation space very heavily, whether blind or sighted, these are a decent start. They're not very expensive. The case, the kit that I bought right now, and it has been consistently sitting there for about 45 days at the time that we're recording this, is $79 on Amazon. So okay. I don't think that's a bad deal.
No. And it doesn't sound horrible at all.
No, it's also kind of designed to be out moving around, not just statically sitting in a room that doesn't have any padding on the walls. I am going to do some test recordings that will play in at some point out, just like, even if I'm just out in the yard, just walking around and see how they sound. Cause that's the thing I have not done yet. Cause I was looking for something. I was looking for one of my little mounts to put my phone on so I could connect it to the phone and not have to hold the phone, physically in my hand. I wanted to put it on like a selfie stick or something. Hey, remember when selfie sticks were all the rage?
Yep, sure do.
Now people are walking around with DJI, gimbal cameras that just, pocket-sized cameras that they're recording with, which is crazy. Shout out to the new listener, though. We appreciate you. And thanks for giving me the idea, even though it wasn't really your intention.
I mean, we talked about it in the past, but yeah. How about you? Working on your vast quantity of audio interfaces to figure out what it is that sounds the best.
Well, that's not, really the whole purpose of this is to arrive at, here is the minimum thing you should buy and why you should buy it.
Right.
So the mic minis could end up as a recommendation there if a lot of your shows are going to be, I see a lot of people write this in their reviews, like the running gun style, which I don't really see.
What does that mean?
People in their videos running after people.
Yeah.
I would, and I don't think I'm gonna have to make a decision of whether or not to keep them. I'm not sure I want to keep them just because I don't think I'm going to use them as heavily as it will warrant for me to have them sitting around. Unless we get a ton more tip jar subscribers in between now and my return date. I really would like to take these to like a convention or something and
Yes.
try to have a conversation and see how well that worked. The next convention that I'm actually going to is going to be the NFB of Alabama, and that is that's over a month away. So we shall see. Now, if I were going to Sagebrush, I absolutely would have taken them to Sagebrush and tried to get some video content, get some content recorded, but no Sagebrush this year. So maybe next year.
Maybe I'll take my microphones with me on my trip across the country to come back across the country and see what interviews I can grab.
Oh, yeah, because you're not going home in between that.
Nope.
So.
Nope.
Yeah, you should do that. You should absolutely do that. That makes sense.
Mallory's taking so when she flies over to DC, she's checking a bag. So I might just throw them in the truck and tell her to throw those in her checked bags when she comes over. And then she's taking some of my clothes back with her in the checked bag because she already paid for the checked bag. So she'll take some of my dirty clothes with her. So it'll lighten my bag when I'm traveling back to LA. So
that's so cool.
For it. Yeah.
Yeah, Windows United with the Babcock. That'd be nice. Yeah, but you, if you can, man, you should try to do that because I think you'll be able to get some good content. And there's several places beyond our show for you to kind of, spread that stuff around.
Yep.
Yeah. So that seems like a good idea. And I may end up holding on to mine for that exact reason because I'll be at ACB and NFB national conventions this year, and there's other stuff I'll be at, other opportunities to record content. So maybe not. But anyway, this is what they sound like.
Yeah.
And they're not terrible.
And if you want to support them, you can become a tip jar subscriber. Let's wrap up with a brief talk about your automations that you've implemented this week.
Oh man, what automations? Let's see. I automated the braking of a belt on my van.
Oh no!
So yeah, hey, listen. So
that's an expensive automation.
It could have been. It could have been a hell of a lot more expensive than what it turned out to be. So at least all that happened with that yesterday is that it. I think the fan kind of started shredding up a piece of it because it was dangling, and then it ended up wrapped around the fan. So. I just had to unwrap it from around the fan. Much better than if it would have just slipped off or just popped and then ended up, flying all around the inside of the engine compartment. That could have been terrible. Yeah. I did set up an automation. I forgot about that. See, like you do stuff with Claude and you just move on. It's like, okay, that's done. I'm moving on. So what I set up with Claude Code and IFTTT. So the automation I set up was basically to get notifications from the podcast. Now, this took me down other pathways of things that I could get notified of, so I don't have to check my email to get certain notifications. But it started with Pinecast, which is the podcast hosting platform we use. And hey, there's always a link in the show notes that will, or the episode description in your podcast player that will get you a free month?
40% off your first 4 months, 3 or 4 months.
Oh, there you go. Of Pinecast, which we have been using all the way.
21, I think.
Huh?
21, I think. Maybe 20.
Yeah, I think it was. No, we were on Pinecast during the DM series.
Yeah, we were still doing the DM series during COVID.
Were we?
Yeah.
Man.
I know. Time.
It
was 20 or 21 that we started, but we've been on there for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, we've been there. Yeah, we've been on there. I would say probably within a couple of years of Pinecast launching, I think is when we started. So whenever that date is, sometime within that first 2 years of it being around, we got on Pinecast. But anyway, there's a link in the notes or the description if your podcast player supports such things. I However, what I want to do is get notifications. And I was like, oh yeah, Pinecast supports webhooks. So why not when we get a new tip, or when Mike publishes the episode, or we pass, 1,000 listeners for 1,000 downloads for an episode or something like that, I will get a push notification to pushover, because pushover is a thing that I have been using. I looked and it tells me when I started my account. I've been using pushover since 2015.
Oh, wow.
Off and on. I was like, oh, that'll be a good use for that. So I set that up with Claude. I basically asked Claude like how to set it up. Well, I knew how to set it up. I started out asking Claude, having a planning session with Claude Code on what would be the best way to accomplish this, so I can ultimately end up with a push notification and pushover. And it gave me a couple of different ideas. It's like, the problem is here with the webhooks from, the webhooks from Pinecast send data in JSON format, but pushover wants application data. So you're going to have some middleware that converts to JSON to what, pushover will accept. And I was like, oh, okay. And it gave me a couple of options for that. And I was like, well, hey, what if I just use IFTTT? I do have IFTTT Pro, just kind of hanging out over there, begging me to use it. It was like, oh yeah, IFTTT would be great for this. Because of course it would be. So I set that up, and then I went back to Claude because I'm like, hey, I got this set up, but I don't like the way that the notification looks like. What I want is the name of the event to be the title of the notification. So new tip, or,
new published episode, or...
Yeah. So, and then give me like the information about it in the body of the thing. So it's like, okay, well, here's how you do that. And I found out about a thing that I hadn't really paid any attention to. But if you use a webhook as a trigger in IFTTT, you will see a section that says, what is it called? I texted Mike about this, I think. So when you're setting up a webhook as a trigger in IFTTT, there's an option there, at least in the pro account. I'm not sure if this is on free or not. But in the pro account, there is going to be an option for filter code. And what that'll let you do is write some JavaScript. And it seems to only want to accept TypeScript. There are a couple of buttons there to kind of, auto-populate a few things for you. Right. You could honestly probably use IFTTT's little built-in AI thing to help write this, but I was already in Claude. So what I had Claude do is look at the JSON and filter it and do all the stuff so that when it passed the data from that webhook receiving into sending it over to pushover, which is just a direct integration of IFTTT, it was formatted the way I wanted. I tested it. Everything looked good. And then Mike was kind enough to go give us $1 tip to test it for real. And I was like, awesome.
Through. And it came through just fine. And then a couple other people gave us tips this week, so thank you to those people. I don't know if your notifications were working, but I was checking email. I'm like, oh, they returned. And that person returned. Well, thank you, Tip Jar subscribers. We appreciate it.
We truly appreciate it. Also coming up for people, me and Mike are going to do a kind of step back and a somewhat a higher level. So we're going to step back and kind of give people a view of how we got started with doing some of the stuff that we're doing with Claude Code and LLMs in general. But we're going to stay out of the weeds as much in that one and try to not only give people steps on how we got to be confident enough to use these things to create everyday tools, but the ways that you can get started doing this, and some practical ways of just using it, even if you really don't care about code, or you really don't have a tool that you want to write for yourself, or you just have not gotten that comfortable because you have not started using the LLMs at all. That is going to be a future episode coming up. As well as, and IFTTT will probably feature in that episode a little bit more, because I'm going to spend more time in there. One, because I have already renewed the pro account for another year, because I wasn't paying attention. And two, its interface is not as it's pretty straightforward to use. I mean, there may be a few gotchas here and there depending on what you're trying to do. But even on a free account, I think there's quite a bit that you can do. And automating certain tasks or just being notified. I mean, simple as building your own notification system is powerful. Even if you're not, going to start hacking at code and editing JavaScript or TypeScript or, doing whatever weird stuff I was doing over here. Like, oh, I want to know when this machine makes a sale. Or how can I have my iPhone on the van report its location? If a person strays outside of these bounds, I get a notification about it. Yeah,
oh no, he's going to start setting that stuff up.
Hey man, listen. I can understand why people do it. I'm not going to be weird and be like, you can't listen to music and you can't sing along to the music. Like some companies that shall remain nameless in this episode. Have done their people, and then try to treat those same people that they tell you can't sing along to music while you're driving and delivering our stuff, as their contractors, so they don't even get any kind of benefits. Treat your employees kind, to the best of your ability is all I'll say about that. Oh, and I'm on the MacBook Air, Shazad.
Yes, Shazad, he sent his stuff back. Oh, go ahead.
They have received it. They have received both devices.
They have not shipped it back to you yet?
They have not shipped it back to me.
I made the joke that they'll have it there for like 45 minutes and then turn around and ship it back to you. So.
Let's see. When did it get there? It got there.
Yesterday.
Thursday, as we're recording. So it got there yesterday. So I could definitely foresee them having shipped it back by Monday or have it on its way back to me Monday because I don't think they're going to be working over the weekend. But the MacBook Pro, at least, they're probably done with. They may spend some time with that iPad Mini. But
the point is, Shazad, he got it in. It only took him a month and a half.
And I appreciate the nudge from Shazad, though. I really do. It's like, have you sent this in yet? I'm like, no, I hadn't even called Apple. Let me call Apple.
Let me do that. So I have something to report back on the show.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I didn't want a second follow-up. Hey, it's accountability, right? It's one of the reasons we started this show. Well, not started this. That's not the reason we started the show. It's one of the things we wanted to do with this show is be accountable. Yes. So we are okay with you, nudging us or calling us out on things, when necessary. Because, hey, sometimes we forget, sometimes we procrastinate, and then procrastination leads to, imagination. And then you've written a whole thing that really does not serve a purpose in your day-to-day operations. But it was cool. So you did it. See the previous conversation about getting notifications on podcasts. Because Mike did the much more practical thing in this situation, which he just went in and set up the emails to be sent to the feedback email address, and boom, we were done. It's like, that's one more time I got to check email, though. Like, what if I do this?
Yeah, but now you know how to do it next time.
Here's where procrastination of doing something else did help, though. We're going to talk more about IFTTT. I'm going to start nudging Mike to use IFTTT a little bit more because I'm pretty sure he renewed his pro account too.
Yep.
Yeah,
sure did.
So we should make use of the things. We should make use of these things that we are paying for, and then
or stop paying
for the things that we're not using.
Yeah. ChatGPT.
Yeah, but I think IFTTT for you, I could potentially see a lot of use there. And I mean, if you don't get the use out of it, don't pay for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to play with IFTTT because
webhooks make things extraordinarily flexible, right? Because if you can get data from here and send it there, even if there's not a direct integration, that's the glue. Right, webhooks and HTTP API calls are the glue that holds the whole internet together, to be honest. So, man, I could have set up a push, what is it called? Push cut. I could have set up a push cut automation. So when I got a new tip, I don't know, my porch light would flash, green for 10 seconds. I didn't do that.
Do you even have push cut installed? On anything?
I have it on my phone.
Okay.
What I'm waiting for, and I don't think they've done it yet, but I heard rumors, It may even have been in a beta. That push cut was coming to the Mac, which makes it more useful to me because then it can always be running.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's looking it up right now. Dedicated iPad to just throw it on. I am looking it up right now to see if they did this thing. Wait, what?
Pushcut.io.
I hate when people hijack people's stuff, man.
What do you mean?
Oh, that is the Pushcut website. I'm sorry. Apparently it's just some...
Oh, you saw the headline, the news?
Yeah.
Not compatible with this device.
Yeah, I heard rumor it was in beta. It's one of those apps like like you can set it up on, you can turn any device into a pushcut server. So it's kind of always running so it can process, incoming triggers and then do whatever thing that you want it to do, which is cool. But you got a dedicated device to that. And I honestly, at the moment, don't have a device that I can dedicate to that other than the Mac Mini just sitting down there, just, quietly being a server.
Yep.
But anyhow, I don't know. Home Assistant will spin off out of here somewhere at some point. And then it won't matter about Pushcut because I won't care because I'll get completely out of the Apple ecosystem.
That's a lie.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I never thought I would have the thought of, I wonder if I can de-Apple my Apple device. Because they're getting a little outrageous with stuff. Like, I legitimately feel for people, and I don't mean this to be belittling. Like, I mean it seriously because it would annoy the hell out of me if it was me. I pay for Apple One Premiere or whatever because I have a family and it makes sense for me to pay for that, so I keep paying for it. But my understanding is if you're not paying for if you're not paying for any or very little of Apple service, all the things you're not paying for, you're constantly being advertised to pay for them. And that's not an Apple experience. So I was thinking about it today, like, how do I de-Apple my Apple? How do I decore the Apple? That's what I need to do. Just
Well, how can people tell you how to decore your Apple? That's starting to sound low weird. Just saying.
Tell me what Linux I should set up. You can send an email to feedback@technicallyworking.show. You can follow Mike on Mastodon and talk to him. He is Payon, Payown @dragonscave.space. I am Damashe, Damashe @technically.social. And follow the bot, TW @technically.social.
Who is currently
use the hashtag.
Right now. Huh? The bot is sleeping right now. He will awaken soon, but he is sleeping. It is sleeping, not he. It.
Yeah. You can use the look at Mike. Use hashtag technically working. We appreciate you. Capitalize the T and the W. Quick update on the bot. So CloudBot is actually set up on no, that's not what it's called. Yeah. OpenClaw. OpenClaw is set up on a server. I got stuck and did not get back to it, which is integrating the 1Password thing so that it can, not have any of my API keys or whatever on disk. But that'll get sorted out now that I got the parts I need for the van, and I don't have to stress about it anymore because I know what the problem is. When it wants to stop working in the middle of the road, I was like, oh, geez.
Yeah.
It's going to cost me like $3,000.
Priorities. Need to get that working.
But that's been resolved. So, and I'm really anxious to turn the bot loose on stuff. There's also a thing going around, and like I got to figure it out. But you can use any LLM tool with OpenClaw. But apparently, Claude has put in their terms of service that you cannot use your Claude API or something like that to do certain stuff. You can't use your
Claude account. You can use the API, but they don't want you to use your account and get the subsidized rates for if you pay them monthly.
Ah, okay.
Yep. So that's what that's about.
Because I hadn't looked it up. I heard somebody talking about it, but they didn't have that level of specificity that you just provided.
But you might want to just run it through Open Router so then it can get
That's actually what I was going to do.
Yeah.
I thought about that as a solution. We'll just run it through Open Router and tell it to be intelligent. Like, listen, if you don't need Opus 4.6, like, it's okay if you use, like, I don't know.
Whatever the cheapest model is right now, if
yeah.
all you need to do is something.
Whatever
like,
the cheapest model is that can post something, like, that's,
Yeah.
that's all you need to do. But that'll be coming, and I will update people a little bit on how I set up the 1Password integration, which there's information out there, but hey, you're listening to our show, so we'll tell you about it on our show. Appreciate everybody for listening. Again, we thank every single one of you who listens. Telling a friend about the show would be excellent. We appreciate that. Special shout out to our tip jar subscribers. We thank all of you because at this point, we're just going to say, have you seen the price of anything?
Yeah. Just
It's
anything.
crazy. Eggs, man. Jeez, what are you doing?
Man. Anything.
I was trying to set up an automation. I forgot to end part of the show. See, I have rewound 6 weeks and forgot how the show ends. Hold on, let me end the show and then I'll tell you what I was doing. This has been Technically Working episode number
151.